Picking the Player of the Year award can be tricky when there are so many talented bowlers competing on the PBA Tour, although since 2013 it's basically been dominated by two players, and that's because they've just been so much better than everyone else. Since 2013, Jason Belmonte has won 7 awards and EJ Tackett has won 4. Carl Troop and Andrew Anderson have won each during that period, but clearly it's been a two-man show when it comes to the Player of the Year award. Before that, the award has always been pretty well contested, and often there were players who missed out who really should have won. In this video, I'm looking at 4 bowlers who were robbed of the Player of the Year award. I'll be looking at the season in question, who actually won, and why I think that player should have won instead. And just before we start, I want to talk about an honourable mention, and that is Pete Webber, because Webber never actually won a Player of the Year award. And to be honest, he clearly should have done. The problem is, and the reason he hasn't made this list as an entry, is that I looked at some of his best seasons, and to be perfectly honest with you, there were just other players who'd had seasons that were too good. You know, I found it very difficult to find a year where I could say definitively, okay, Pete Webber definitely should have won Player of the Year in that year. For example, in 1985, Webber did win 3 titles, but then you look at Mike Albee, who won the Player of the Year award, won 6, including a major, and was the first to win $200,000 in a single season. 1991, again, Webber won 3, but then you had David Ozio, who had a fantastic season, winning the Tournament of Champions, was the leading money winner, and won 4 titles in total. So it's very difficult. There was just, unfortunately for Pete, when he had good seasons, other players just had better seasons. I think the only season you could argue perhaps is 2012, when he won the US Open for a 5th time, but even then you had some players with really, really great seasons, and we'll find out more about that season later on in this video. But let me know in the comment section what year you think Webber could have won the Player of the Year. So we'll start this video off straight away with number 1, Norm Duke in the 07-08 season.
Plans around failure. Back-to-back jacks for the Duke. Only a nasty left calf injury. What injury? Found the pocket that time.
Norm Duke had a poor start to the 07-08 season, but that was down to injuries. Things got so bad that he was in serious danger of losing his exemption on the tour. However, he pulled off the impossible and won the last 2 majors of the season, the World Championship and the US Open. These were both such inspiring and important wins that kept him on the tour. It was Chris Barnes who would win the award, but this marked the first season that the PBA used a point system and not a player vote. Barnes had a great season, don't get me wrong. He won 2 titles and finished runner-up on 2 other occasions. But I think if it had gone down to a vote, Duke should have won the award that year for winning the last 2 majors of the season. Number 2, Jason Belmonte in the 2012 season.
Four in a row. Drops the nickel. Belmo will take 9 and a 255 to his seat.
As I mentioned, Belmonte has dominated this award, winning it 7 times, which ties him with Walter Ray Williams Jr. However, he probably should have won this award an 8th time in 2012. Sean Rash won the award that year in a close vote. He received 29% of the vote, and Jason Belmonte received 26.6%. Rash did have an exceptional season. He made history in becoming the first player to make the telecast in every event of the World Series of Bowling. Although he did not win any of these 5 tournaments. He did pick up a title though at the last event of the season, the Tournament of Champions. Belmonte also won a major, the Players' Championship, but he also won the Shark and the Comedian Championship. To me, this puts him ahead of Rash during that season because not only did he win 3 titles to Rash's 1, he also won 2 in the World Series. And although Rash was sensational during that year's World Series, it didn't translate to a win. As the voting showed, it was very close, but I think Belmonte should have won the award that year. Number 3, Dave Husted.
Opening shot championship match, U.S. Open.
11 titles, including the 1982 United States Open.
Seems to have won the United States Open.
You bet. That's first in this championship.
David Husted, who also won the Brunswick World.
Mike Albee won the Tournament of Champions, which meant that he was a Triple Crown winner, and he joined Billy Hardwick, Johnny Petraglia and Pete Weber as the only Triple Crown winners. He was also the tour's leading money winner, and that meant he was voted the PBA Player of the Year. However, I think there was a player who was robbed of the award and arguably had a better season than Albee. He won his 12th title and 2nd US Open in front of the largest crowd to ever witness a PBA event. He was described as being semi-retired at the time, and yet he won 2 titles in that season. He would also go on to defend his US Open title by winning it again in '96, although that's not relevant for this season's discussion. Another player you could consider is John Handegard, who became the oldest PBA champion at the Northwest Classic. Number 4, Mike Scroggins in the 2009-2010 season.
Especially if Scroggins can eke out a win here. Strike there for Scroggins, just a feed. 2 spares, 2 strikes. Gets the 3rd strike there. And that's what Mike Scroggins does best. His opponent is struggling. Mike Scroggins has got a nice line to the pocket, and now he's the one making the good shots.
Once again, the award came down to the point system, which I didn't really like. It was won by Walter Ray Williams Jr., and this might be controversial, but I think another player should have won it. Yes, Walter had an amazing season, winning 2 titles, including the USBC Masters at age 50, but it was incredibly close on points. So close, in fact, that it all came down to the final event of the season. Scroggins came so near to winning his first Player of the Year award. He'd won 2 titles that season and was the number 1 seed for the 2010 Marathon Open. A win would have given him the award, but he lost to Pete Weber, who broke a 3-year title drought. Scroggins had a brilliant season, and given all of his fantastic performances throughout the 2000s, he definitely deserved a Player of the Year award. And as Walter had already won 6, it would have been nice for this one to have gone to somebody different. This season, though, had a lot of good stories, and you could have made cases for quite a few other players too. For example, Kelly Kulick became the first female winner on the PBA, winning the 2010 Tournament of Champions. You had a feel-good story in Tom Smallwood, who came through the PBA trials and won the 2010 World Championship. You also had Bill O'Neill, who finally won his first title at the Comedian Championship and then followed that up with a win at the US Open. So there was a lot of players who could have won, but unfortunately it all came down to points. If it had been a vote, I think we could have had a different result, but my pick for this season is Mike Scroggins. And so that brings us to an end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think of my selections, and if there's any other seasons where you felt there was a clear choice for a Player of the Year award and somebody who probably should have won but didn't. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and if you have enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button below. Well, that's going to do it from me for today, and as always, thank you, bowling fans, and see you all next time.